Hey everybody, sorry about that. I hope you're all still here. Um, these Airmeet, by the way, is a fantastic Indian product company which is building this fantastic platform for virtual events, and they're growing super fast. And as they grow, they keep updating the UI and they keep adding new features. And we love them for that, but sometimes it bamboozles me as a host. So I apologize. That's my fault. But we have the video here, and here's Subhashish. So please enjoy, and we will see you after that.
Firstly, thank you to Nikhil and the rest of the organizers for inviting me to speak to you about ODEs. So, the way I'll structure my comments is I'll answer 5 questions. Firstly, what are ODEs? Like, what are these beasts that we're talking about? Secondly, why are we talking about them? Third, what are the risks of creating these kind of digital infrastructures? Fourth, why is ON India interested in this topic? And fifth, if you want to get started, how do you start building an ODE? So let's start with the first question. What are ODEs? Open Digital Ecosystem or ODEs are the public infrastructure that we need for an increasingly digital world. We at ON India define ODEs as open and secure digital platforms that enable a community of actors to unlock transformative solutions for society based on a robust governance framework. We believe that there are 3 layers to ODEs. Firstly, digital platforms. These are the technology infrastructure that facilitates co-creation for the delivery of solutions to end users. Secondly, there's the community layer, which is the collaborative community who transact via the digital platforms to create value for all. And third, there is the governance layer, which are the laws and rules that govern the entire ecosystem and accountability that they bring and transparency that they bring, both government and non-government, that uphold these rules. Most importantly, we believe that these non-tech layers of ODEs, which are the governance and community layer, play a critical role in determining both benefits and the potential harms of building these kind of systems. So why are we talking about these ODEs today? We believe that we are witnessing 3 fundamental shifts in the use of technology for public service delivery, and that is creating the momentum for this ODE conversation. So firstly, there's the creation of shared technology infrastructure that can be leveraged by both public and private sector entities to unlock a wide range of innovations and services for individuals, businesses, and government bodies. So these are, starting with Aadhaar, these are the number of stacks that we are now seeing being rolled out in India. Now, connecting these disparate systems and data sets also enables interoperability, subject to the appropriate security and privacy design. So we are seeing that these systems are not now standing in silos, but they're actually speaking to each other and exchanging data, which is creating new opportunities as well as new risks. And third, we believe that one of the driving forces is there's a strong emphasis on building safeguards and incorporating privacy by design principles within these digital platforms to protect the rights of individuals and prevent misuse. As all of you know, India does have a fundamental right to privacy, that there have been numerous judgments since then of both the Supreme Court and the High Courts, which have reaffirmed this right and are actually fleshing out its many aspects. So all 3 of these trends put together is leading to a bigger conversation around ODE, where we're not just grappling with the technology, but what is the governance, what are the safeguards, what impact do they have on individuals, etc. So therefore, several public and private institutions have started to build ODEs in various sectors, such as health, urban governance, and agriculture. In fact, the Ministry of IT is leading the conversation on platformization and ODEs in India, naming these as National Open Digital Ecosystem or NODEs in the Indian context. But it is not always just hunky-dory. ODEs by themselves also create risks that we need to be very mindful of and actively mitigate. So we believe that this fundamental shift of the ODE approach is giving rise to at least 4 kinds of major risks that everyone should be aware of. Firstly, there is a data centralization risk. That data centralization of any kind and aggregation of personal data from multiple sources into a single database increases the chances of its misuse or replicating errors due to the poor quality of the underlying data sets. So this is something that needs to be kept in mind whenever a data set is being created. Secondly, there's a builder adoption risk, that if the community of builders around it is unable or unwilling to adequately leverage the technology infrastructure to build new and innovative solutions on top of this ODE. And this is important because the very purpose of ODE is to create an open infrastructure for innovation. But if there's something that is creating a barrier in doing so, that needs to be actively addressed. The other two risks that I'm going to speak about is not specific to ODE, it is specific to any digital platforms, but is also important in the ODE context. There is the exclusion risk that we have seen that exclusions do arise due to technology or socioeconomic barriers, preventing certain segments of the population, especially the most vulnerable, from accessing services. And for many of them, this could be a question of life and death, and therefore this is extremely important risk to think about. Fourthly, there is the operational management risk, which is associated with government ICT builds, arises due to challenges within procurement and contracting, talent management and funding. So how do you get this entire thing set up? There are many ways in which it could go wrong. So these are the 4 risks of ODEs that we should actually be always cognizant of. The next question that I seek to answer is, why is ODE India interested in ODEs? So ODE India is a philanthropic organization that funds entrepreneurs in the non-profit, public, private sectors who help create a meaningful life for every Indian. So at Omidyar Network India, we believe that ODEs have the potential to be the next frontier of good tech. Our work on ODE is cross-cutting across the 6 core initiatives of Omidyar Network India, which includes things like education, financial inclusion, and digital society. And it also complements our global efforts to support beneficial technology, including public digital infrastructure. Our vision is to support bold entrepreneurs, both within government and non-government practitioners, to grow the movement to maximize benefits and minimize harms on a set of guiding principles to create such ODEs. So now that brings me to the last question that I seek to answer, which is, how do we build ODEs? So we had funded research, and we've done a lot of stakeholder consultations in association with the Boston Consultancy Group. And we believe that ODEs, when they are being built, should adhere to 15 principles that we have laid out in that report we came out with. 5 of these principles for each of the layers of the ODE. So what I will do, instead of going through all 15 of them, is to pick up 3 and also first tell you what those principles are, and also give you some examples of how those principles have been implemented. So for example, at the digital platform layer, we believe that ODE should adopt a privacy by design approach that embeds key technology and security features within the core design of the solution to ensure that people have privacy and data protection. For example, Estonia's e-health records platform that functions as a nationwide health database uses privacy by design principles like purpose, specification, collection limitation, etc. to safeguard individuals from data misuse. The data is encrypted in transit, and individuals can access the data using a digital ID, which is secured via multi-factor authentication. Third-party healthcare providers and pharmacies require authentication to access an individual's data. So that is something we see as a shining example of how can you build data privacy into the very technology and the DNA of the system that is being built. The second principle I wanted to talk about was at the community layer, wherein we believe that ODE should encourage the participation of all community actors at all stages of plan, design, build, and operation to facilitate and promote a culture of openness and collaboration. They should also enable the development of user-centric solutions and facilitate a widespread and sustained adoption of the digital platform. Now, what does this mean in practice? In practice, for example, we've seen Singapore has undertaken several initiatives to adopt a user-centric and participatory technology for building digital solutions. These include, for example, testing of products under development and providing feedback for improvement before the launch of the service at scale. This is facilitated by GovTech Singapore's Tech Kaki community and a program called Scope. Similarly, Singapore also has encouraging collaboration among public sector agencies, research and academic institutes, and commercial entities to co-create innovative solutions. This is enabled by the InnoLeap program that they have. And third, what Singapore also does is to drive end user adoption and increase senior citizens' awareness of the effective use of digital services. This is done through initiatives such as digital clinics and experiential learning journeys. So we see there are several steps that Singapore's GovTech programs have taken to actually build that community around the tech platforms that they are building. Now, the third and last principle that I do want to speak about is an extremely important one, which is the governance layer. We believe that ODEs should have a designated regulatory institution and create right legal and organizational structures, operating processes, etc., in line with its objectives. They should promote multi stakeholder governance involving key stakeholders such as government bodies, private actors, and individuals to enhance transparency. For example, X Roads in Estonia has a central governing authority, the Estonia Information System Authority. The RIA, as it is known, leads the development of national IT systems and also ensures national cybersecurity. It is responsible for the administration, development, security, and regulatory compliance of the X Road platform as well as the data shared via the platform. So, I hope this provides all of you a good overview of what is ODE, why are we talking about them, what are the risks, why are we interested as ODE in India, and how do you start building an ODE. So this is still early stages of a very important conversation. I think ODEs are set to transform the social and economic lives of almost all Indians. And it is therefore important that the boldness of our approach is matched by the thoughtfulness that we put into it to minimize all of the risks that we just spoke about. I am glad that Nikhil and his team have taken the initiative to catalyze this kind of conversation by bringing stakeholders from different kinds of communities. And I hope that over the next few days we can all get together and possibly come out of this event with a better understanding of how do we really seize the moment while at the same time protecting India's most vulnerable citizens. So thank you all very much, and congratulations again to Nikhil and his team for putting this together.
Brilliant. Thank you, Subhashish, for that. Even though he's not here, I'm going to thank him nonetheless, because that was a very compelling talk, and something that I resonated with was, was what Subhashish said about the need to involve all stakeholders in the creation of these public assets and public ecosystems. And I think that's something which we're doing fairly well here in India. And the next talk, I think you'll find out more about that. So before we dive into the next talk, just give me, actually, it looks like we can do that. But maybe we'll take like a brief pause for just one moment, and then we'll be back. Our speakers are already here, and you'll hear from them in a moment. But just 1 second, and we'll be back with you.